At it again, and we have one here, not with Katie Hobbs herself, but apparently her sister, saying the quiet part out loud. It's about to get real. Shout out to Project Veritas. Make sure you guys go subscribe to their YouTube channel. The original link will be down below. But before we get into it, hit that like button. And if you are not subscribed to the channel already, hit that subscribe button down below and join the family. Also, all of my social media accounts are down below in the description box. Make sure you guys go and follow me. And with all that being said, let's dive in.
So all across the country, Democrat candidates, not candidates themselves, but the party, was putting money in primaries into the races of the extreme Trump-endorsed candidates, as opposed to the moderate Republicans that were running, because they wanted those extremists to win, because they knew that the Dems had a better chance of winning their races against the extremist candidates than they did against the moderate Republicans.
I'm standing here in Maricopa County, Arizona, the Grand Canyon State, founded in 1912. A fierce gubernatorial race is underway between current Secretary of State Democrat Katie Hobbs and Republican candidate Kari Lake. Our undercover journalist sat with Becky Hobbs, that's Katie Hobbs' twin sister,
Becky with the good hair,
and uncovered a surprising, if not shocking, national Democrat strategy to help Kari Lake win her primary.
So the Dem Party put money into those extremist races so that would be, and okay, so on election night, on primary night, when we were at Katie's event on primary night, and she didn't know the night of the election who her opponent was going to be, but Karen Taylor Robson was up by 10 points.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like it took the air out of the room, because everyone knew that Katie was polling better against Kari Lake, and everyone knew that Katie had a better chance to win against Kari Lake. So everyone wanted Kari Lake to be the nominee. So it was kind of like this sigh of relief when Kari Lake actually ended up winning. Yeah. Because Katie, it's a better opponent for her.
Because she's like Trump. Is that one?
Yeah.
So it will be easier for her to win.
Right.
Now, although Becky Hobbs is a private citizen, she works for Mission for Arizona, which is an affiliate or political action committee, which is paid for by the Arizona Democratic Party, 501c4, which is behind all the big races here in Arizona, including Mark Kelly's Senate race. Now watch in a bizarre revelation to our Project Veritas action journalist, Becky Hobbs, that's Katie Hobbs' twin sister, reveals that her and her husband registered Republicans.
We both registered Republican to vote against Mark Kelly. Wait, to do what? To vote against Joe Arpaio.
This brings into question rhetoric in the news media, urging that democracy itself is at stake in this midterm election. So, which is it? Are Trump-backed candidates a genuine threat? Or is it all engineered by the Democratic Party to alter public perception for their benefit? You decide. Reporting from Phoenix, Arizona, this is James O'Keefe with Project Veritas Action.
So, there you have it. All right. Now, I got another video that we're going to be jumping into, so make sure you guys stick around. But, so they were funding Republican candidates that they thought they could beat. Well, last time I checked, Blake Masters has actually pulled even with Mark Kelly. So that's a toss-up right now between Blake Masters and Mark Kelly, and I feel like independents are right now at least are going to lean towards the Republican side. So we'll see how that Senate race goes. And then of course Mrs. Kari, who Katie Hobbs thought she could more easily beat. Well, she's up in the polls. Don't you just love when the plan backfires? I love it. It's beautiful. It's fantastic. It is fantastic to watch the panic. It is so lovely. And to watch Katie Hobbs literally run away. You guys remember the video that we checked out with Katie Hobbs and the news reporter, the reporter walked up and was trying to ask her questions, and she literally was trying to get out of there so fast, she spilled a drink. Yeah, so apparently she thought this lady here was a better person to run against. Let's check her out.
Let's give a warm Arizona welcome to your gubernatorial candidate, Republican Kari Lake.
She thought she could beat her. Silly rabbit.
Nice to see you. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Good to see you.
Hello, how are you? Oh,
Very enthusiastic.
you drew a crowd.
No, I think they came for you. You're running for election. I did offer to bribe them with In-N-Out Burger, though.
Oh, well, that'll bring a crowd.
That was my favorite place.
Welcome to Arizona.
Thank you for soon-to-be governor, right? I think
I think we're gonna vote, right? Definitely.
I never take anything for granted, though. I mean, I've seen you up as high as 5-6 points in the polls, but I tell every candidate, you have to run like you're behind.
Yep.
You know, it's
Absolutely.
2 minutes left in the game, no timeouts. You're on your own 20. You got to march down the field 80
Gotta
yards.
drive
You
the
got to
field.
cross the plane, kick the field goal to win. Is that how you're running?
You're speaking my language. My dad was a football coach. And we are with seconds left on the clock right now. We have 15 days left in this election. And we are acting like we're 20 points back. But we've been doing that since day one because we knew that we have to save this state. And you know, we know from the crowds that we're getting that we are way ahead. We drew 4,000 people at a rally Saturday night. It was a great event. Some of you might have been there.
Isn't that kind of weird, though? I just find that really, really questionable. You know, Joe, when you look at Joe versus the Orange Man rallies, right? When you look at those comparisons, how packed and just like sardines, you know, a Trump rally is, and then you look at a Joe rally. And then, of course, you see a Kari Lake rally where she's packing a house. And then you look at one from Katie Hobbs and just like, something very interesting is happening. You know, I don't know. I don't know. It's just weird to watch the two distinct, completely different rallies. You know, one is packed, the other one, you know, there's people there, but not very many people. I don't know. Y'all talk about it.
That's amazing.
And Katie held her biggest event, and I think there were 20 people there.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm not sure I believe all the polls. I know from what I'm feeling that there's something going on in Arizona, and it's good.
I hope so. Now, I want to go to this quote of hers. It's ridiculous to focus on the border. This is well, every state now is a border state. It's ridiculous to focus on the border. She actually said that, and she supports amnesty.
Her plan is to let Joe Biden handle it. Joe Biden is the reason we've gotten into this mess in the
Joe
first
does
place.
not know today is Monday.
That's right. We have to wake him up in the middle of an interview. Did you see he fell asleep in the middle of an interview?
Yeah.
That is a great strategy as well, and I'm gonna stop pausing it, but that's a fantastic strategy. What some of these Republicans are coming out and doing that I've noticed that I've paid attention to. They're attaching their opponents to Joe, and obviously the sentiment on Joe is most people heavily disapprove of him. So if you attach the person you're running against to Joe, they see them the same, and so. You know what I mean? Smart strategy. I love it. I love it.
What does Dr. Biden think?
So,
Mr. President?
and then you look at her voting record when she was a state senator, and she voted against the border wall. She voted against the virtual border wall, against the border strike force, which would help protect Arizonans. And she voted against, this is the shocker, she even voted against asking the federal government to reimburse us for the costs that we're incurring. I don't know how she can look herself in the mirror. We have a fentanyl crisis. And I know that she's not talking to that many people on the campaign trail, but I'm talking to people every day, hundreds, sometimes thousands of people. And when you see a mother come up to you and talk about losing her son or father, her 17-year-old son took one pill, a 19-year-old son took a half a pill, and they're gone. We have to
It is the
tackle this.
#1 killer of our children now in the country.
That's right.
And it's coming across that border that she doesn't understand why we're focused on it.
And she's an open borders
Don't do
globalist,
drugs.
let's face it. She wants to take what Newsom has done for California, which is destroy that state, and do the same thing here in Arizona. And that's why I think we have a movement, because people know If we elect someone like Katie Hobbs, we're going to turn into California 2.0. And nobody wants that. I'm pretty safe.
By the way, you have a lot of Californians moving in. I think there ought to be a rule. Maybe if you become governor, you can get the legislature to pass a rule. You're allowed to come, but you can't ruin the state the way you ruined the last state you came from. That would be...
Absolutely.
I don't know how you figure that out, though.
No, I will say this, though. The Californians are the ones who grab me at these events and go, don't let Arizona go. We uprooted our children. We uprooted our business. We moved our home. We are here. We don't want Arizona to turn into California. So some of our California friends that moved here, they gave up a lot. Somebody's waving in the crowd. They don't want this to turn in. They fled California.
You know what so here's an amazing thing. If you take a U-Haul from anywhere in California to Texas or Arizona, where we are, you know, in the case of Texas, it will cost you about $2,500 from California to Texas. Dang. If you take that same U-Haul from Texas back to California, you'll pay $300 or $400. You're doing U-Haul a favor. If you negotiate, you could probably get it for free.
Probably. U-Haul, which is an Arizona company, they will pay you to get a U-Haul from Arizona to California because people are moving so fast.
Let's talk about why will she not debate you?
Well, she's now missed her chance because we had the debate last night, and it aired last night, and it was a great conversation. I didn't yell. There was no antics. You know, she's afraid. There's several reasons. One, she has terrible policies.
It was a forum, though. There's a little difference.
Yeah, last night we just had an interview because she wouldn't show up.
Right.
But she's afraid to defend her policies because they're dead-end, destructive policies. How do you defend wanting an open border when you've got so many...
That's another great thing as well. I've noticed that a lot of these Democrats that have actually stood up to debate, it hasn't gone very well. Because these policies, you can't really make an argument for them. Like, you literally have to wait for the Republican that you're running against to stumble. The Republican has to make the F up in order for, the Democrat candidate whoever they're going against in that debate to win. The Republican has to mess up. So as long as the Republican stands tall and doesn't have any fumbles, it's a guaranteed W. Guaranteed. Because you can't defend these policies. You cannot possibly defend them. Because they don't work. We've seen that time and time again. That's why so many people don't like Joe in this administration. These policies don't work. And you can't stand up in a debate and defend them. I mean, you could try to twist the words and blah, blah, blah. But if you noticed, even in some of these debates, a lot of these Democrats are going back on their word, right? For example, the one we checked out, I think it was yesterday. What's his name? Fetterman. Now all of a sudden he supports fracking. Really? Because he can't stand up and actually debate not supporting it. So he has to say that he does. It's absolutely funny to watch. And he's not the only one, but it's absolutely funny to watch.
Fentanyl pills pouring across that they could kill every man, woman, and child in this country. How do you defend that? How do you defend your voting record when you voted nearly 90% of the time against small Arizona businesses when you had a chance to help them? How do you defend tax increases that you were pushing for when you were in the legislature? And how do you defend, I think this might have been the worst bill that she co-sponsored. Can you imagine putting your name on a bill? And she did this. She co-sponsored a bill to start sex education in kindergarten. This is the leftist that we're dealing with. And so she knows she would get, we would bring that up on the stage, and we'd bring up her twice convicted, racist past.
Oh.
She's got a terrible past, and she can't defend it, and I think we just...
She lost twice on the racial discrimination.
2 juries of her peers, yes, unanimously convicted her of racism and sexism.
Ooh, you dropped the bomb on me, baby. Oh, hold on. That's something that I didn't know. Miss Katie, you have been exposed. Ooh. Twice convicted of racism? The party of the left? Oh, man. Oh, man. Carrie Lake needs to put that on a bunch of billboards or something all across Arizona. All across Arizona. Katie Hobbs, twice convicted of racism. by a jury of her peers. Like, just put the information on a bunch of billboards. That's what I would do. I want to make sure everybody in that state will see what this lady actually is.
For paying women of color $30,000 less than men. And it's always the left accusing conservatives and Republicans of being racist, and really, they're the racist.
Facts.
So one of the big issues, the Democrats have tried to make this campaign about abortion. Now, I would argue inflation, 41-year high, record high gas prices, wide open borders, a lack of law and order, and woke education versus traditional education are the big issues. In her case, and a lot of Democrats are trying to make abortion, but she is somebody that would support abortion with no restrictions at all. And when asked about it, she wouldn't give any restrictions. So that means she would allow an abortion up until the moment before birth, because that child is viable outside a mother's womb. That is called.
I don't think some of these Democratic candidates really support that. Like, if you gave them truth serum, I don't think they would actually say, yeah, all the way up until birth, yeah, you should be able to. The problem is they've created such a monster, on the left, that they have to say it. Otherwise, they know they'll lose without a shadow of a doubt. Like, they have no room to have a differing of opinion. They all have to be in agreement. You have to agree 100%. Not just 99, not 95, like 100%. You have to agree with the left. And if you don't, you will lose, and you will lose by a landslide, because they won't vote Republican, but they'll never vote for you. And that's why I say the left eats itself. It's just fantastic to watch.
I grew up infanticide.
Yep. It is truly the murder of a baby, you're right. Oh. We got pressured on this by the media. The fake news in this town is horrible. And they were pressuring me every day on the trail to talk about abortion. And I said, look, I'm pro-life. I want to save as many babies as possible. I want to help as many women as possible. They go into a Planned Parenthood, they're given one choice, and that is the worst choice. Let's give women options so that they can choose life. They can find a family that wants to adopt their baby. And then I would say to the press, and you should pin down Katie Hobbs on where she stands, because she's for abortion up until the moment the baby is born and then after. And they finally did. I'm really proud. I think my pressuring of the fake news pressured them to pin her down, and we got it verified the last couple of weeks. The press finally asked her.
Wait a minute. She's like Northam and supports the idea. Remember the governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia? Well, first the baby is born, and we'll make the baby comfortable. Then the mother will have a consultation with the doctor and decide whether this independent human being gets to live or die.
It's disgusting, yeah.
That's sick.
Her voting record proves it. If you don't believe me, look at her voting record. And her voting record shows when a bill was presented to her to vote on, to save a baby who would survive an abortion, to give them life, to give that baby treatment. Yeah. She voted no. She'd rather that baby die in a cold metal tray. And this is what we're dealing with here.
She says she's for tax cuts, but 13 times she had an opportunity to cut taxes, and she did not. How does she say that with a straight face?
I don't know. I don't know how she says. Well, she says a lot of uhs and ahs.
Once again, they changed their stance because they can't debate. She can't go up there and debate raising taxes. She can't. So she has to say, John Fetterman has to say, I support fracking, even though he really doesn't. Because he can't make an argument against it, against his actual stance, or for his actual stance. Excuse me, I was probably saying that wrong this whole time. I be stumbling over my words sometimes. I ain't perfect. I ain't no professional speaker or nothing, okay? But you guys understood what I was getting at. They have to switch their stance because they can't make an argument to support their actual stance.
That's how she does.
She does. I've watched
That's
her.
how she answers questions, Sean.
She couldn't even answer a simple question. How is your relationship with the Hispanic American community?
Oh, yeah.
That's a great question.
Yeah,
well,
right.
The thing is, nobody's asking her these questions because she's running from the media. She's running from the debate stage. She is only talking to people who are friendly and throwing softball questions at her. Meantime, we've taken we call it the job interview, we've taken on the road. And because she wouldn't do the debate, I think of a debate as a job interview. I think everyone's safe to say, the people are the hiring manager. I'm applying for the job. Katie's applying for the job, and we go and talk to the hiring manager, the people of Arizona. We talk about what we want to do for this state. They know, because they've heard me, that I want to secure the border. I want to make sure our kids are getting a decent education, not a brainwashing. I want to make sure that we have a strong economy so that we can have families who can afford groceries and gas and vacations even, maybe. Get it to where it's that good.
The big issues that are fundamental, I would argue, in every election, beyond inflation and gas prices, and we'll talk about that, then it becomes border security, then it becomes law and order. Everybody wants to be safe and secure in their town and city.
And we're not right now.
And we're not, right?
And it's a variety of problems. We've got a wide open border, 5 million people coming in. In the last year, 2.3 million have come in. That's not including the gotaways. The gotaways are the people who come in, they want to come in undetected because they have a criminal background.
98 apprehended people on our terror watch list. Those are only the people we caught.
Yes, imagine that. Who's getting through that we don't know about? That's what's scary. And that's why we've got to secure the border and fully fund our police, get all of our police departments fully funded, right?
Yes.
The other thing that you could have a very big role in is on the issue of education. Now, maybe I'm old-fashioned. I don't think that kindergarten through even 6th grade should be learning about gender identity or CRT.
It's garbage.
I'm old-fashioned. I believe in reading, writing, math, history, science, and computers, and
Yes, sir.
The golden rule. You can teach the kids, love God and your neighbor as yourself.
Yep.
If you're
Yes, sir.
public school, you can't mention the God part. Okay. Treat others the way you want to be treated.
And we do need to bring God back into our society. We really do. I'm just going to say that. Our state motto is God enriches. God enriches. And we need to. Katie Hobbs doesn't even want our state motto in the classroom, probably because the word God's in there. And this is what's happened. When we push God out of our society, out of our culture, out of our homes, out of our hearts, look what's happened to America. We need to bring God back. We really do. And so.
All right, we got to take a break.
Okay.
Arizona, you have. Hey,
So
Sean
yeah,
Hannity.
I definitely agree with that statement. Or even it doesn't even necessarily have to be God, but just some of those ideas. Treat others how you want to be treated. So like even if somebody disagrees with you, for example, from the left, you shouldn't be spitting on them or yelling in their face because you wouldn't want somebody to do that to you. And we know a lot of folks on the left. They're soft as a roll of Charmin toilet paper, all right? You go yelling in the, oh my God, he criticized me, So treat others as you want to be treated. I understand you may not like what it is that I have to say, but you shouldn't be spitting on folks. Shouldn't be yelling in their face, So definitely agree with that. And man, do we need more people like Kari Lake. Don't we need more people like Kari Lake? I thought that was absolutely fantastic, and everything that I've seen from this lady has been absolutely stand-up stuff, And I can't say the same for Katie, and that's just being completely honest, right? Being 100% honest, like she was just talking about. Look at her voting record. She's an absolute liar. She said that. That she wants to lower taxes, but if you look at her voting record, she voted every time to raise them. So how does that even make sense? Liar. Don't want to do interviews. Why don't you want to do interviews? I mean, a guy, the black gentleman that we checked out, just walked up, was like, "Hey, how's it going? Hey, I'm such and such with," and she literally just had just panicked and literally ran away, spilling her drink in the process. I mean, just like what in the world is going on? I think a lot of these folks on the left saw the way Joe ran and think that that's going to work for them. And it's not working out so well. But then again, also, stepping on the stage doesn't work out so well. So you would think that they would realize, okay, we need to do something. Because running and hiding, like Katie has been doing, and I applaud Kari for getting out there as much as possible, even though Katie is hiding. I think that's a very, very smart strategy. But running and hiding does not work. It doesn't work. I mean, maybe there is some kind of race out there. I admit I haven't looked at every single one. Maybe there is some out there where running and hiding is working for Democrats, but I think for the most part, especially if the Republican is doing their job and actually getting out there as much as they possibly can, anywhere and everywhere that they can go, that they go, I don't think it will work. But then also when they step on the stage, it doesn't work either, because you can't defend these policies. So common sense, which I know common sense is no longer common, which is very, very unfortunate, but I still have it. So common sense would tell me, okay, we need to change some of our stances on these policies, because we aren't going to win. We can't win. The only way that we can win is hopefully finding something to demonize these folks with, falsely demonize these folks with. We have to fearmonger. Look at Joe's Twitter account. I read it from time to time, and it's also funny. Ever since the acquisition was, going forth, I've noticed there's been a little bit of a shift on some of the comments under Joe's tweets, right? For a while, I felt like they were all positive. At least some of the top ones were positive. Joe, well, not Joe, whoever runs that account, because it's definitely not him. But that account would tweet out something, Republicans are all crazy and they're psychotic, and be careful because they're gonna cut your Social Security, blah blah blah. Oh yeah, Joe, we support you. We love you, Joe. We want you. You're doing such a fantastic job. But now there's so many comments that are like, leave office now, get out of here now. Oh, we don't believe you. It's funny to watch that. But anyway, I've talked enough. This video is long enough. Y'all let me know what you thought about this one in the comment section below. Are there any other candidates that you guys would like me to touch on as well? Let me know. Peace and love. I'm out.